Hello and welcome back. In this session, we are going to be summing our three fractions with unlike denominators by using our LCD method. Now, with using the LCD method, it always works best when we have more than two fractions involved because it helps us to find our LCD right away, convert our fractions to their equivalent form, and then begin our calculations. So if you're ready to see how we're going to sum these numbers using our LCD method, let's get started. So in our session today, we are going to be calculating the sum of our fractions when we are using our LCD method. So to find our LCD method, the first thing we're going to need to do is identify the numbers that are in our denominator. So the numbers that we have in our denominator that we need to find the LCD of would be 3, 4, and 5. Now for these numbers, I'm going to be taking a rather simple step to find my LCD, which is I'm going to multiply these numbers together. And when I multiply 3 times 4, it gives me 12, and then 12 times 5 equals 60. Now with 60 for this question, and I must point this out, 60 is indeed the lowest common multiple that these three numbers have in common. However, I also have to state that in most cases, when you take the approach that I just did, where we multiply the numbers together to find an LCD, in some cases, well, rather, like I said, in most cases, you will get a multiple that's common to both of the numbers or all of the numbers in your denominator. However, there are times when we take this step and multiply the numbers together, and the number that we get sometimes is larger than their actual lowest common multiple. So be very mindful of that when you're using the step that I just used. There are some numbers that they do have multiples in common that are smaller than the one I just used or the one I just got. So if you know your timetable and you can identify a lowest common multiple, make sure that you use that number because it will help you with having to eliminate with doing too many simplification at the end of your question. Now, I went with this approach because I already knew that 60 was their lowest common multiple, so it was pretty easy to go through that process instead of listing the multiples. So let's dive right into our calculations or our equivalent fractions now. So now that we have our LCD, let's convert our fractions to their equivalent form. So when 3 is multiplied to 20, we get 60. So we will also multiply 2 times 20, which will equal to 40. And now let's repeat this step with our next fraction. So 4 when multiplied to 15 is equal to 60. So I will also multiply 3 times 15, which will equal to 45. And now for my final fraction, when 5 is multiplied to 12, I will get 60. So when I multiply 2 times 12, this will equal to 24. So now that we have our equivalent fractions and our common denominator, we know that 60 will remain as our denominator, and let's begin summing our numbers together. So we have 40 plus 45, which will equal to 85. And then we will add 85 plus 24, which will equal to 109. So my numerator will be 109. And because this is an improper fraction, I will have to convert this into a mixed fraction. So 60 can divide into 109 once. That will leave me with a remainder of 49. And my denominator of 60 will remain the same. And since these two numbers have no common factor, 1 and 49/60 will be my solution for this question. Okay, so there you have it. We just calculated the sum of our three fractions using the LCD method. And remember that I am going to load a next video for you working out this exact same question when we are actually using the cross multiplication method. So make sure to stay tuned for that video. As always, get some additional practice in, and I'll see you right here in the next video on Jules Math Tools, where we aim to make math easy.